If you're currently torn between the Redmi 14C and the Tecno Spark 30C, wondering which one you should get, this is the video for you. I have reviewed these devices individually, so you can check them out after this one. Let's jump right into the design and form factor of these devices. Now, I'll be airing my views based on my personal preferences. This may differ between different individuals, but however, let me know in the comment section if you agree or disagree with my opinions. Alright, both devices have a similar design with thin camera modules, circular and housing all the necessary and unnecessary things. Starting with the Tecno Spark 30C, I absolutely love the design. Firstly because they no longer copy the iPhone look, which is refreshing and it just works, especially in the white I have here. The camera ring houses two lenses, a flashlight and an IR blaster. The camera ring is designed like a dial and it just comes together really well. It looks polished and really high quality. The overall form factor of the Spark 30C is not so great for me. It is a pretty wide device and pretty heavy too, which makes it a little uncomfortable to hold in my opinion, as I am not a fan of big or heavy devices. But in terms of looks, I really love it. The Redmi 14C on the other hand has a longer form factor with a screen size of 6.88 inches as compared to the 6.67 inches on the Spark 30C. So a very noticeable difference in height. It feels boxy in hand and very uncomfortable for one-handed use. So you will enjoy this when you grip it with two hands, especially when you're consuming content. Otherwise, with a device this big, it is just better if it is slimmer and with a curved display. Obviously, at this price point, there is no way you're getting that. My Redmi 14C has a lovely green silicone polymer leather looking finish on the back that looks and feels great. So far, no issues with dirt and definitely no fingerprints as is the case with leather. To be fair, the Tecno Spark 30C also does not attract fingerprints and smudges, despite its glossy plastic back that looks and feels like glass. Sorry for interrupting, but before we continue, please hit the subscribe button right now. Let's grow this family to 4,000 subscribers. We're only about 140 subscribers away. Thank you. The camera ring on the Redmi 14C is where I pick up issues with the design. It looks really cheap and it is so large, which is unnecessary. I noticed its camera ring takes up the color of the device, which makes it look better in black and manageable in white. You can check out my review on the Redmi 14C to know how I really feel about this device. They both have plastic frames and similar button layouts, having the volume rocker keys and power buttons on the right side of the device and the SIM card trays on the left side, which takes a dual SIM setup and a micro SD card. On the base, they both have a microphone, a Type-C charging port and a speaker grill, with the Tecno Spark 30C also featuring its 3.5mm headphone jack here, while the Redmi 14C has its on the top, for reasons best known to them, as I think it makes no sense and nobody can tell me otherwise. The Spark 30C however has a second speaker grill on the top for stereo effects. And yes, it does make a huge difference and has the Spark 30C sounding way better than the Redmi 14C. They both have their power buttons as their fingerprint sensors, and both are pretty responsive, with no complaints here. For display, the Redmi 14C has a 6.88 inches 720p IPS LCD display, and the Tecno has a 6.67 inches 720p IPS LCD display, both with 120Hz refresh rate. For their price point, I love the colors from both, but I slightly lean towards the display of the Tecno Spark 30C. Pictures appear a lot more natural and lifelike compared to the Redmi 14C. However, if you want to watch movies, the 6.88 inches on the Redmi 14C comes in handy and gives a more immersive feel, even though it falls short in the sound department, which is crucial for an all-round immersive feel. The Redmi 14C has no IP rating, while the Tecno Spark 30C is IP54 certified for dust and water. Both the Redmi 14C and Spark 30C are powered by Android 14, with the Redmi 14C running Xiaomi's HyperOS, while the Spark 30C runs HiOS 14. The Spark 30C has a MediaTek Helio G81 CPU, with the Redmi 14C using a MediaTek Helio G81 Ultra CPU. Hold on to your horses, don't get excited just yet. Now, both devices run smoothly, and even though I noticed the Redmi 14C to be slightly more responsive, I promise you won't notice a thing, even if I leave you with both devices for a day. Now, only someone who really cares about something like this will pick up on the slight difference, so the Ultra shouldn't be a reason for getting one over the other. They both come in 4, 6 and 8 GB of RAM, with 128 and 256 gigabytes of storage. I advise you get the 8GB RAM variant on either of them, as I have experienced some slight lags on both of them, even though I have the 8GB RAM variant, which means it can only be worse with the 4 and 6GB RAM variants. They are both not gaming devices. Now, when we say that in reviews like this, it doesn't mean games won't load or play on them. It only means in most cases, you would have to set most high graphic games to the lowest possible graphics settings. And in most cases, you will still have lags and cases of overheating. So to enjoy games like Call of Duty and PUBG Mobile to the fullest, you will need to raise your budget for something better. Low graphics games, however, will run smoothly. The Spark 30C has an IR blaster located in the camera ring for controlling your household appliances. This is a feature we are used to seeing on the Redmi series, but they however left it out on the Redmi 14C. Speaking of the camera ring, both devices have a 50 megapixels main camera and a flashlight in there, with an AI lens. The Redmi 14C also has, in the place of the IR blaster, a 2 megapixels depth sensor. Both devices shoot videos at 1080p 30 frames per second. The picture and video quality out of both are decent. So at this price point, I don't like to nitpick when it comes to camera quality, but I can tell you, both are very much usable. The Redmi 14C has a 13 megapixels selfie camera, while the Tecno Spark 30C has an 8 megapixels selfie camera. Both shoot videos at 1080p 30 frames per second. Again, pictures and videos out of both are impressive. I lean more towards the Tecno Spark 30C when it comes to its main camera, while I lean more to the Redmi 14C when it comes to the selfie camera for pictures and videos. You can make a choice for yourself from the samples presented. The Tecno Spark 30C has a front-facing flashlight for night or dark environments, while the Redmi 14C can only light up its display to deliver a much softer light. The one aspect the Redmi 14C outshines the Tecno Spark 30C has to be in its batteries. It has a 5160 mAh batteries as compared to the now industry standard 5000 mAh on the Tecno Spark 30C. Both are great. Well, who are we kidding? As Africans, especially Nigerians, the bigger the batteries, the better. With fuel at 2000 naira per litre and irregular electricity, this is just what we need. I like that the Redmi 14C comes with an included 33 watts wired charger to help you achieve a full charge faster, compared to the 18 watts included wired charger with the Tecno Spark 30C. Speaking of included things, both devices come with a protective case, charger brick and Type-C cable in the box, with only the Spark 30C including an earpiece. Look, when it comes down to it, which should you consider getting? For me, it's a no-brainer. The Tecno Spark 30C is the more exciting and better looking device in my opinion. The only reason you should get the Redmi 14C over the Tecno Spark 30C is firstly, personal preference in terms of looks or design. Secondly, screen size for consuming content. And lastly, battery size. By the way, the Tecno Spark 30C isn't exactly terrible in these areas. So if you're not extremely particular about those 3 points made, I personally recommend the Tecno Spark 30C. I believe they both come with 2 years of software updates and 3 years of security updates. Check out my individual review of both by clicking on any of these videos for anything I might have left out here. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give this video a like if it has been helpful. Thank you for your time. Till we see you again, bye bye.